Good evening, I'm Boyd Benavides, welcoming everyone to the sixth episode of Season 5 of our RFC Tuesday podcast. This show is powered by IRRFC-PH, the Philippine chapter of the International Association of Registered Financial Consultants. The IRRFC-PH is an association dedicated to the craft of financial consulting. The association is the sole organization authorized to conduct the RFC conversion courses as well as continuing education in the field of financial consulting. It is an honor for me to welcome Ms. Mary Moose tonight as our guest. Ms. Mary Moose is a trustee of IARFC and heads Victory Financial Planning. She has achieved several FINRA recognitions in general securities, investment company products, variable contracts, general securities, uniform securities, and uniform investment advisory. She has also several designations. She's an accredited investment fiduciary, a registered financial consultant, an investment advisor representative, and a registered investment advisor. She has been with credit unions and after which she founded Victory Wealth Management Inc. and created a client-centered, successful, and independent financial planning practice. She has been a speaker in national women's conferences on the topic of never let up, or how to obtain sustainable growth and high levels of client satisfaction when building a financial planning practice. Tonight, she shares with us her experience, her thoughts, and how she was able to transition her private practice by developing public relations skills for financial consultants. So, fellow RFCs and guests, please all welcome Miss Mary Moose. Thank you for spending the evening with us, Mary, and for joining us tonight in our podcast. We really appreciate your time spent with us to share your thoughts, your insights on developing our public relations skills as financial consultants. First of all, how did you get involved in the financial planning industry, and what brought you here to us today?
Well, it's nice to meet you, and thank you for having me here this evening. The way I got into the industry is it's interesting to me, and it's a very vivid memory. I was working for a company that makes window weather stripping, and I was driving home from work. I worked in inside sales or customer service, and I was thinking to myself, I drive a long way to work every day and home. I have two small children. What's next for me? Because I really don't see much of an opportunity here. And so I was really into listening to motivational speakers like Zig Ziglar and Stephen Covey. And Stephen Covey, I was listening to 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and he said, if you haven't doubled your income in every 5 years, then you're not where you're supposed to be. And I took that to heart, and especially in my situation, because I didn't see any path forward. And so I ended up applying for a job with a bank, and that was really where I discovered that I love helping people with their money, people that were just like me, trying to figure it out. And that's where it all started, was in a bank.
And then from transitioning to a banking career, how did you get involved with the IRFC?
IARFC, I first learned about them when I was doing my CFP coursework. And, the criteria to be a CFP is pretty much the same as it is to be an RFC. You have to pass all the same exams basically, and they're not easy exams. And so it was kind of a no-brainer for me to align myself with them. It gave me, I felt like it gave me instant credibility. It proved to potential clients that I had done the extra work, spent the extra time, do my continuing education, ethics, and it really, I think it gave me some credit, instant credit.
At some point, you left the banking sector. What made you transition from banking to becoming say first probably an independent financial consultant?
Yes, I stayed at the bank, I guess about 2 years.
Mhm.
And there were two reasons I left, really. The first reason is because it was such a sales-oriented culture
Mhm.
that I felt like I was doing my clients a disservice by not, going back and doing reviews and seeing how they were doing and what we might need to change. It was more about what could you sell that person next.
Whereas you were going into private practice, I mean, it's a challenge always to build that rapport, to build that image with clients. What were your experiences in building that you'd say public persona, so that it will help you expand your practice?
It was terrifying and exciting all at the same time. I did have some clients that came with me from the bank. So those clients came on board with me, and I did have a company whose employees I worked with almost exclusively. It was the power company. And so, when I would meet with someone, I would ask them, hey, tell me about some of your coworkers. Is there anyone that you think that, might be interested in talking with me? And that's the way that it went. And I remember sitting at my desk, and back then we had paper files, and looking down at my file drawer where my client files were going to be, and it being empty, and me thinking, oh, I can't wait until this drawer is full. And so, it's just about just activity, just, staying busy, making phone calls. Don't be discouraged by no's, and putting yourself out there.
When you're talking about like creating that persona, that public relations aspect of the practice, like what are the things that would make you visible to your clients? What are the tools that you use?
Yeah, I can give you a couple examples of that. And I know this more now because, I'm older and I've been doing it a long time, and I have the gift of hindsight. I can tell you that any way that you can find to be of service in your community will pay dividends. One thing that we did was sponsor a United Way golf tournament for that employer was putting on, and we were allowed to be there. That gave us a lot of exposure. And another thing we did later on that just was so powerful was, I had a client who worked at this company who was in a really horrific motorcycle accident and was paralyzed. And he liked to cook, and he wanted to be able to cook, and he couldn't cook using a regular wheelchair. So there's a small town in North Carolina that we basically took over and hosted a motorcycle rally. And we raised enough money to buy that a standing wheelchair for him so that he could cook and have, a better quality of life. And so I think when you find things like that you care about in your community, you have an opportunity, you don't have to put on the whole show, but you can show up for the show and make yourself available and, get out there and get to know people.
For you, it's easy transition because you've been with sales, then you went into client services, and now you went into financial consulting. But for people who have not been really exposed to talking to other people? What's your advice to be able to start them off?
I love this question, and I'll tell you why. When I was in junior high school and high school, I was absolutely terrified to give any kind of a report in front of the class. I would take an F or a 0 before I would stand up and talk in front of a group of people. And so, here today, I don't even recognize myself. Sometimes I'm like, look what you did. You said something that made sense, that people understood. And I think for me was realizing that I know some things other people don't know. And I have something of value, to say, and I know that I can help them. And I think when you come across the people that you care about them and that you're just trying to help, and you can do that in a way that is not threatening, I guess, just like a regular person talking to another regular person, that it's not that difficult. I was kind of made myself a prisoner in my own brain, because of fear. And once I overcame that, it really just, the more I did it, the easier it got.
Everybody always starts with that fear of interacting, fear of speaking up, or fear of doing presentations or meeting people. And I guess it's for us building that confidence and realizing that we have something to offer. Right, when we started, everything was like touchy feeling. I mean, it's all face to face. You build your credibility through word of mouth, but now you have other tools like social media. What are your thoughts on this, and how? I mean, it's a double-edged sword, so we have to be very careful also in using these tools now.
Yeah, social media, I kind of have mixed thoughts about this. I feel like you absolutely have to have a presence. And for me, that's been, Facebook page, Instagram, like that's the bare minimum. Like you have to be there, you have to post something, hopefully at least once a week. I'm in a place now where I am actively starting to do some digital advertising, which I know is different than social media. But it's still very different than how we did it back in the day, right? Mm-hmm. So, I am starting to do that. And I know that, a goal that I will have is to be more consistent in my posting, because and I think it's especially important for folks that are younger. I'm 58 years old. If you're younger and you're getting into this business, you better be on TikTok and everywhere else, like that's where it is. And you have to be wherever your audience is or wherever your potential client is. And so for me at my age, with the clients that I'm working with, they're still on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm fine just to be in those places. So, wherever your client is where you need to be.
How should we evaluate whether our physical presence or our social media presence is effective and it's creating that network of contacts that can help our business?
Yeah, that's a good question. Periodically I will go through my book of business and evaluate where my clients are coming from. But it's just, it's knowing your clients and where they came from. I think that just gives a wealth of information, about what you're doing. And, maybe they're coming from social media,
yes.
or advertising or whatever that may be.
And it's a good way for you to also share your thoughts with them, and at their convenience. I mean, they access, say, Instagram or Facebook at their own time, and being there allows you to catch their attention probably at the moment that they are mostly disposed to receiving your messages.
Exactly. And I found that clients are more than happy to share with you. Like, I have a few clients that I have really great relationships with. We're very close, and they give me honest feedback. I mean, like really honest feedback. And I take that to heart. You know, I had a client recently say, "Hey, we know that our friends talked to you about working with them. They didn't think your website was up to par." Yeah, and I took that up to heart. And guess what? I'm in the process of designing a new website because that's valuable feedback. And these are
Yeah.
the people that I want for clients.
Mhm.
And so, you know, once I, stepped away from it, like, oh, that's my website, and had some professionals look at it, like, yeah, my website was not that great. And so if you have clients that, you're very comfortable with, and hopefully over time you have relationships that you're comfortable with, they're willing to help you, and they'll be honest with you if you give them permission to be.
Talking about your website, you have this tagline that says, if it matters to you, it matters to us. How did you come up with that tagline? And I mean, it's so catchy. I mean, and immediately clients start thinking, hey, this person's really serious in serving me, right?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not really sure how it came to be. It didn't come out of any kind of hiring a marketing person or a focus group or a survey. It's just the truth. Like, if it matters to my client, it matters to me. Yeah, my business is personal because it's a personal business. And so I have to be tuned in to what's going on with them. What's keeping them up at night, what's hurting their heart, what's hurting their pocketbook, what do they want to do, do they want to go on a trip? I mean, I've had clients that have said, well, I want to go to England, and they'll say it to me a few times over the course of the year, and eventually I'm going to say, okay, well, let's decide when that's going to happen. When do you want to go? What season? Okay, you want to go this next year? Like, I actually had a client set a date, and he made the trip only because I held him accountable to what he said he wanted to do. So, that's very ingratiating to me. Like, that is such a reward, just to know that this man, took a trip he probably wouldn't have otherwise taken because I encouraged him to do that. Like, that's huge.
Yeah. Now you realize that you're having a lot of impact on the lives of your clients.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so elating that you've been a way for them to change and to be able to grow also.
Yeah, and I want to say too, I trust God in all of this. I pray for my clients, and I ask for the next right thought or action. And, I have to give credit there for where credit is due, because it's certainly not all me.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that's also our way of being able to select our clients because of the messaging that we give to our publics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So circling back to your task now at IRFC, since you started as one of the trustees, what's your function now in IRFC? What are the objectives for this position, and what are your intentions for the organization within the next couple of years?
Well, I mean, I'm here to be of service in any way that I can. And, I think as far as objectives go, it would be just to help fortify and grow the organization in whatever way they can use me, and really look forward to working with them going forward. Just a lot of really, high quality, very experienced, knowledgeable, quality people.
Mm-hmm.
And, that excites me to be, pulled alongside this group of people, and to know we're all working for, something bigger and better.
Yes, indeed, these are exciting times. I mean, the lockdowns have encouraged us to go global and reach out to more RFCs, both domestic and international, and being able to exchange ideas, exchange best practices, and exchange our experiences so that we will be able to enrich each other's practices. I mean, that's a great opportunity for us at this time
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. I mean, anything that I've done or anything that I say is a result of, a conversation or observing or learning, educating myself. Like, my ideas aren't original. They came from somebody else in some form or fashion. So I love all the things you were just talking about with practice management and ideas from other advisors. As an independent advisor, it can be kind of lonely at times. You're kind of like an island out here. Um, and so, yeah, I always love interaction with other advisors.
Any like final word for our advisors out there who are starting out in their practices and trying to, I mean, you have gone through the same process, uh or shifting from one career to the other, and then like
Hmm.
finally finding their heart into the financial consulting practice.
Yeah, I think, first and foremost, if you're not excited about being a financial consultant, then you probably shouldn't be a financial consultant. Maybe it's really not your path forward. Um, I feel like you have to really love what you're doing, and you have to have the heart of a teacher, and really care deeply about people. And if you can say yes to all of those things, then, I encourage you to move forward. And it can be discouraging, because you're not always going to get the client. You're not always
Mhm.
going to, have a full calendar, or, there are going to be times when money's tight. Like I've been there, I've done that, all of that. Um, what I say is just never let up, just be active, make the phone call, send the email, do something, because you may not see fruits from that particular activity, but fruits will come from somewhere else. They always do.
Yes.
And I believe that's because you're just showing that, hey, I'm here, I'm willing to do the work, I'm doing the work. And then, like, you might be working over here and something pops up over here. You're like, oh, where did that come from? Well, it's because you're putting forth that effort and it's being rewarded. So just keep working. Don't, you know what? If I can do this, anybody can do it. It's wonderful.
Yes. It's wonderful. I mean, we just have to put in the hard work, be inspired, and be an
Hmm.
inspiration also, right?
Yes, and it's worth it. Just power through, put your head down and work.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mary, for spending your time with us,
Hmm.
enriching our evening with your thoughts, with your experience, and providing us some light in the way forward towards a very enriching and very satisfying financial planning career. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Yes, it's been fun. Thank you.
Friends, before we close tonight, we have our um, Miss Susan Capa from IARFC head office who joins us. We now bring her forward because she has been with us through the different recordings and different activities involving the our global RFC, especially those in the US. So we thank her for being with us tonight and spending time with us in front of the camera now. Before, she used to be at the back of the camera, being one of our secret associate producers. So good evening, Miss Susan, and thank you for joining us tonight. Welcome, Susan, to our culminating episode of our season 5 Tuesday podcast. So let us hear some words from you regarding how, say, the Philippines chapter is doing after having like constant communication with the different IFC chapters. Um, what do you see would be the sector's achievements and where it's heading?
Well, first, I really love to communicate with all the international chapters. And it's just a joy to get to know the different people, the different cultures, the way you look at things, and how you express yourself. So that's really been a blessing in this aspect of our getting to know everybody. So in relationship to the other chapters, your chapter, I feel, has dynamic, energizing, and engaging leaders. So I think that is the big that's a big factor. And I really like to bring in the home office and the US members into your fold, because I think it's really been apparent to me that people enjoy the interaction.
Mhm.
So at least from what I hear and what I see, and I really am glad that we can do this podcast together. I think the outreach is important to the association because it makes us more a international association. And you guys in the Philippines have just gone with it, and we work together well. And the podcasts have been something I didn't envision at the beginning of all this, and you just brought it to the table, which is even better. I think your commitment into putting on these conversion courses and also the continuing education is really important, and that's how you're going to grow your membership and the chapter. But mostly, I like the communication between us. So good job on that. We enjoy talking to you. We get more out of what you're doing, and we really enjoy the personalities and the people that I come in contact with.
What advice can you give, say, the Philippines chapter and the Philippines members, so that we can further fortify the mission of spreading financial planning in the Philippines?
Well, I think one of the big things is kind of what I just talked about. The consultants and you yourselves on the board can make it known that you are an active partner with the U.S. and that the consultants are part of an international association. You're not just isolated in the Philippines, so to say, that you're part of this international organization. I think that it's very important in the mission to keep active in your CE events and the podcasts and the graduation and the courses. So I feel you guys are doing that. I know you had a little setback with the pandemic, but you seem to be getting back on track. And I like the fact that you include us in your graduation ceremony. So that's kind of cool. I wish we could send somebody over there all the time, but we'll do our best to at least have some kind of communication.
Perhaps next year. Right?
Perhaps next year.
Yeah.
Let's hope so. I think one of the things that you can do to spread the mission is to reach out beyond your where you are now and get the different regions in the Philippines and stay connected with them like you do us. I mean, you do such a great job connecting with us. So let's take that connection and utilize it, what you've learned, what you do well, and connect to the different regions in the Philippines. Most importantly, I think that it's really it's really important to stay true to the message of the ethical treatment of clients. And I know that our vice chair, Michael Markey, talked about that in his videos. And keep in mind that the consultants can really make a difference in the lives of the people that they work for. So you're really doing a service, and you're doing an admirable service to these people. So I think it's a profession that you can be proud of, and that people can be successful by giving back.
Thank you very much, Ms. Susan, and thank you for your support. And it's a pleasure for me to tell everybody that Ms. Susan Capa is our hidden producer at the back, and she's always supervising us during our podcast recording. So she's our invisible producer.
Well, we all have our strengths and the things that we do well, and that's one of the things that I can do well, is being your support. So I really enjoy doing that, making you guys look good, getting the information that you need, helping you stay organized. That's my job, and I'm very happy to do it.
Thank you very much for everything. And we're committed to be able to expand the franchise and to be able to also encourage more of our members to be active in the activities of IARFC.
That's awesome, Boya. Good luck to everybody.
Thank you very much, Susan, and good luck to all of us. Thank you very much, Miss Susan, and our guest, Mary Moose, for sharing with us your time tonight with our RFCs. We also thank everybody who participated in our 2022 Annual Financial Forum, which was held last Saturday at the Makati Sports Club. And we congratulate all the RFC graduates that were conferred their Registered Financial Consultant designation also last Saturday. Just a reminder on RFC membership renewals, we invite all RFCs to renew their membership and enjoy the benefits of connecting and networking with the global community of RFCs through irfc.org website, continuing education seminars and conferences, and of course, our RFC Tuesday podcast. So for renewal information, please contact Ms. Arlene Baguyo at irfcph@gmail.com or 0917-645-7846. Please contact IRFCPH now for your membership renewals. Our podcast episodes are shown every second and fourth Tuesday of the month. That's why it's important to follow us on Facebook. Episodes are pre-recorded and are broadcasted through Facebook Live. On behalf of our executive producer, Ms. Grace De Vera Escobar, this is the RFC Tuesday podcast saying,
It's better to be in the know than to be the last to know.
thank you and good night, everybody. We hope to see you in season 6 of our Tuesday podcast. This is Boy Benavides signing off.